Agorism and Voluntaryism. There is no political solution to the problem of government. Voting for a new ceremonial figurehead every 4 years has never, will never, and could never create any significant lasting positive change because governments cannot be improved or made moral from within. There are too many vested interests and no statist system, be it monarchy, oligarchy, communism, democracy, republic, or dictatorship, respects the rights of the individual to opt out of being governed. When the mafia comes around to your business, they always befriend and promise to protect you, providing you pay and obey them. If you refuse to comply, however, the mafia burns your business to the ground. Similarly, all statist governments promise to help and protect their populations as long as we pay and obey. But if we don't, then they seize our asses and our assets and throw us in prison. The whole problem is giving one privileged class the legal right and obligation to commit violence and coercion against the rest of the population. All governments around the world initiate the use of violence in the form of police and coercion in the form of taxes against their populations. And this is absolutely immoral and unacceptable. Consensual sex is moral because it is voluntary, whereas rape is immoral because it is forced. Similarly, things like charity donations and the free market are moral because they are voluntary, whereas theft and taxation are immoral because they are forced. The root problem festering within all governments around the world is not the rife internal corruption or criminality.
What?
Those are merely symptoms and side effects of statism.
Oops.
The paramount problem with government is that its mandates are mandatory. Its compulsions are compulsory.
Oh no!
For governments to be moral institutions, all taxes and interactions must be made voluntary. If governments are honestly in existence for our benefit, then they must be voluntary or never initiate the use of force against their populations. That kind of authoritarian violence and coercion is not allowed or acceptable in any other facet of our lives. We wouldn't put up with having our homes and businesses burned down, so why do we sheepishly line up to vote for a new puppet president every 4 years, thinking they are somehow going to make the mafia moral?
Oops.
Simply working for the government, whether you're a soldier, policeman, politician, or otherwise, your salary comes from the taxes the population are forced to pay, making you a criminal by proxy. Thus, working for statist governments, like working for the mafia, is immoral and criminal because your paycheck comes from stolen money. In other words, all government employees, everyone working for them and benefiting from their social programs, are like getaway drivers in a robbery. They may not have personally stolen your money, but your money is right there in their pockets. So who is responsible if not them? I'm not a fan of isms, but the second you express a sound idea, the establishment is quick to rebrand your revolution and assimilate your inspiration into an ism they can control. For instance, anarchy, a once respectable term, simply meaning without rulers, advocating society without government, has long been rebranded hand in hand with chaos, wearing bandana face masks, throwing Molotov cocktails. The actual idea of non-violent sovereign societies, enlightened and capable beyond the need for statist governance, however, is certainly ideal and not chaos. The terms Agorism and Voluntaryism are similar ideas advocating only voluntary interactions between people and the state. Call it what you will, anarchism, agorism, voluntarism, or just keep it simple and call it freedom. It is the missing ingredient in all governments and the root of all state corruption and criminality. If people want to have a bureaucracy of diplomats creating a bunch of social programs for their benefit, what governments claim to be, then that's fine. But just because some guy in a suit wrote something on a piece of paper doesn't make it mandatory. And just because the mafia says, you'd better pay up, doesn't mean you should.